Hard stop right there. Welcome into Innovative Strategies with Bill Hasse. We are excited to be here today with our good friend Mark Carter, author, entrepreneur, all around good guy. Also, right here in studio is our good friend Drew Cappuccino from DCCS. Big shout out to those guys as they're helping out with the show today. So, Bill, how are you, brother?
Hey, good morning. Good to be here. Good to have a couple of friends on. Be surrounded by nothing but love here.
Hey,
and get back into the business side of what we try to bring out on this particular show.
Yeah.
I do want to give a special shout out to the Carmel Catholic High School kids and their incubator program. I just came from there, and they're doing some amazing things and very sharp, very smart, great program. They told me it's their favorite thing about school. So if that is an option in your school or your child's school, please take advantage of it. Look into it. It's called the Incubator Program, and it's all about how to build a business.
And the Carmel Lady basketball team doing well. I think they won regional or are at the regional finals or something. So
yeah,
they're playing well.
Yeah. I'm unfortunately I'm not really able to follow much sports these days. Been a little busy, but we want to bring Mark on and bring him in here. His new book, which I have here. I know we don't have a close up on it, but you'll get that. Idea Climbing: How to Create a Support System for Your Next Big Idea. I have read the book. It's a great book. Lots of wonderful ideas, lots of things that'll help you build a business. And so welcome, Mark. Welcome in. Glad to have you.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, good stuff.
Glad to be here.
I wanted to start off about the book before we get into the meat of it. I know it's, what is it? It's like 23 years now in the making.
I started when I graduated college. I realized I wanted to be out on my own. So I didn't know what it was called mentoring or anything. It was in my DNA. I just said, if I want to be successful, why not interview successful people and shorten my learning curve? So anyone that would give me the time of day, coffee, 20 minutes on the phone, whatever it might be, people from every walk of life. And it was just a few years ago, a mentor pointed out to me, it's like, dude, if you take the time, because it's notebooks, it's at the time 20 something years of paper notebooks to sift through to find common threads to get to idea climbing and write the book. So technically, yeah, it was 20 some years in the making. As far as it goes, just a few years to actually write the book, dissect the comments and everything else that they gave me to put it into the system that became idea climbing.
Well, novel idea. You want to learn fast, surround yourself with smart people, right? So if you're the smartest person in your group, you need a new group. Don't you think?
100%. Yep. You gotta put yourself in the atmosphere that challenges you consistently.
That's why I bring you in. Make me smarter.
I'm the challenged one here, buddy.
No, in our pre-conversation here to the show, we really kind of wanted to focus on three specific areas: the relationship, marketing, and the mentoring. Mentoring is a big one to me, because I'm a big believer of you do not have followers in your business. You want all leaders. You don't want followers. You want all leaders, and you have to help people. You have to mentor them to become or be the leader that they can be, and that's a sign of a good leader in and of itself. When you're not treating people as employees per se or as followers, but as fellow leaders within your organization, I think you get much more satisfaction and much more success out of that. But so let's dive into that. Which one do you want to start with? Relationship?
We may as well start with the mentoring. You just brought it up.
Okay. Fine. What's your ideas of mentoring?
That'll lead to the relationship marketing side.
Well, what's your idea of mentoring? What's your thoughts?
Well, mentoring is, of everything in the book, mentoring is what I'm most passionate about. And what I ended up doing was demystifying mentoring, because it's kind of like business networking in business schools, especially undergrad. Everyone tells you need to do it. There are, as far as I know, there's no courses in it yet, but everyone says you need to do it. If mentoring is brought up, they're told to do it. Even a formal mentoring program, at least all the ones I found, and I've sought out the huge programs, the small programs, and everything in between, they match up and say, Bill's your mentor. Okay, especially if I'm undergrad or a new startup. What does that mean? What do I say? What do we talk about? What do I do in the meeting? Especially if Bill's a busy guy, I might only have 30 minutes and I got to do something. And I discovered with mentoring, the most successful people that had over the top successful mentoring experiences, it came down to the checklist of 3 things: advice, support, and connections. That is your checklist, your agenda for going into a meeting, knowing what is the biggest problem I'm facing right now. And one thing that I teach people, like a college student, I need my job. It's not that you need a job. That's not what you ask. It's why don't I have a job or internship yet? Oh, I don't know how to network is different than I need a new resume. So get to the root of the problem, come into the meeting with, will you look at my resume? Teach me how to network. Or a startup, I need funding. How do I get funding? That's the wrong question for a mentor. Why don't you have funding yet? Same thing. Oh, my network's not big enough. My pitch deck sucks. I need a new one. Come in with a specific problem and a specific question and get advice, support, and connections to solve that problem. And your mentoring experiences are going to go a lot further.
You mentioned 3 things: advice, support, and what was the third one?
Connections, which is one thing most people miss. If you had a good session with a mentor, and I do this with my podcast guests and everything else, hey, now that you know what I'm doing and I appreciate your time, who else should I be talking to? And you can create a constant string of mentors just by asking a simple question: who else should I be talking to that can help me with my resume, my deck, networking, whatever it might be?
Well, Mark, okay, so I'm not in college anymore. I'm outside of college and everything. How do I find a mentor? Do I look for a specific type of person? Does it just show up on my doorstep?
You start with the problem as why do you need a mentor? And then one thing I do to meet people at high levels, we'll talk about this fringe as on the fringes of relationship marketing. One thing I do, because when I was 19 or 20, I was like the wide-eyed kid, kind of cute. And I look back in hindsight, and I'm sure some of my mentors were like, oh, you're so cute. You want to be Tony Robbins. Okay. But they would help me because I was young and hungry. In my 40s, it's a different beast. So what I do oftentimes now is I put amazing people that I can't just pick their brain for 30 minutes. They get paid to do that in the B2B service industry. I put them on my podcast, and I share their genius with my network. But if you're looking for a mentor, and I believe people should have mentors at every stage of life, it's knowing, okay, I'm starting a new global business. I need to talk to somebody that's done this within the education zone, like with you, Bill, or whatever it might be. And then start asking your network, here's what I'm facing. Here's what I need someone. And the key is people with experience that have walked in your shoes or the shoes you're just putting on for the new part of your journey. And go to your network and just ask a very specific ask. I'm building a global education company, and I'm not sure how to scale it, or I'm not sure how to get funding for it, or I'm not how to build it once it gets past a certain point. Ask that question to your network. And if you get specific enough, let them introduce you to someone. That's the best way to do it. Unless you're young, once you hit a certain age, I don't think cold calling to find mentors is effective. So you should have a network built. Go to them and ask them to introduce you to somebody that can help you.
So this question has been texted in. A lot of small business owners, a lot of people that are out of college, out of their 20s, tend to have the know-it-all experience, Mark. So I don't need a mentor. How do you help people get over the fact that you're not that know-it-all?
That's a great question. With them is asking what are they working on right now? What do they want to do in life? And when they tell you, I want to be a CEO or I want to start my own business, why don't you have it yet? Is a great question for a wake-up call. Because if they want to get something and they don't have it yet, it's really holding a mirror up and saying you do need help. Because why? If you didn't need help, you would have what you want. So it's asking, what do you want? Who do you want to be? CEO, entrepreneur, whatever it is. Why aren't you that person yet? That usually shocks them out. Well, maybe I don't know it all, because if I do it all, I'd have it.
Yeah. Good morning, Thomas. Thanks for chiming in here this morning. Great to have you listening in. Tom Sampolo is a good friend of mine. But okay, you're young. Okay, I'm not a CEO yet because I just got out of school. But I would even ask, what's your plan? Because I can guarantee you, the majority of entrepreneurs and small business owners that I meet, and I'm talking over 80%, don't have a plan. And it just blows my mind because that pretty much guarantees just about that you're not going to be successful. But so you had a plan, right? Your plan was I'm going to go out and meet the smartest minds I can, and I'm getting in front of them, and I'm taking all these notes, and it paid off over time. So, I don't know how you feel about that, but that's another way I would throw it back at them and say, hey, if you're going to be a CEO, what's your plan?
As a business coach and a mentor, I've had not just one, but many, many mentors. If you have just one, you're doing something wrong. It takes many opinions and many experiences to build something where you've learned from their flaws, right? A lot of young people that come out of college that already have those blinders on, I know it all, this is what I'm going to do and be. Usually my first conversation with them is, great, what have you done and how did you get there? Yeah. And what they do is they tell me their story, and they, and then 9 times out of 10, what they want to do is tell me where they're going to be.
Right.
Not that they're there yet. And then I go, how are you going to get there? And so what I do is I point them in the right direction to somebody that might have done something like that. I'm like, why don't you talk to Kent for a minute? And you want to be in the podcast world. Why don't you talk to Kent for a minute? He's been doing this for a long time. I'm sure he can give you some pointers. I know that you know everything, but never hurts to talk to somebody that's actually doing it. Then they come in here and they see the studio and they go, wow, this is the real deal, right?
Right.
And they go to Kent, and Kent sits them down and goes, oh, hey, listen, why don't you just jump on the show with us real quick, right? And then he gets a feel for it. Then he's like, man, next thing you know, he wants to talk to Kent more. Kent's now mentoring him.
Yeah, and that's a natural flow. I agree
Yes.
with you. I think there is a natural flow on finding a mentor and a mentor finding you. You meet people, consistently meet people, and all of a sudden you wind up gravitating towards a certain person.
100%.
And I think that's how I found my mentors. I didn't necessarily wasn't looking for them. They came into my life and became that way because of their expertise. Now I deal in seeking people out with expertise for very specific reasons in my businesses. But
so, Mark, in your book, and let me just throw that up there again for everybody. In your book, Idea Climbing, am I looking for a mentor? So when I hear the word mentor, I think Mr. Miyagi, right? And he's going to be in my life for the rest of my life. You know what I'm saying? So is there, as I'm looking for a mentor, is there a specific, am I saying, oh man, Mark, you have done, I don't know, a couple hundred, podcasts. I want you to be my mentor. And that means you and I are going to be hooked at the hip for life. Yes or no?
No. It's a period of time. Sometimes it could be for life. I'm not saying it won't happen, but I like what Drew and Bill were just talking about, which is let it happen organically. When you meet people, oh, you're a podcaster. Guess what? You're at an event. I want to be a podcaster. Can we talk or look for a little bit? And the key with that part is, and you guys touched on it a little bit, vulnerability is a huge part of it, especially if people are younger. They're taught, pad the resume, fake it till you make it. If you present life as perfect, nobody can help you because your life is perfect. You have to be willing to be vulnerable. If there's a time and place. If you're in a job interview, don't say I suck at networking. I mean, common sense takes over. But in general conversations, that was brought up to me. But what if networking don't say that?
I love cold calling.
Oh yeah,
that's going to be dream. I'm sure.
Two of the, I hate that question. What's your greatest weakness in an interview? Really?
Interviews.
I hope they don't ask that anymore.
I tend to work too hard and work too long and put in too much effort.
I burn out real easy. Yeah. Right. It's a setup for failure.
It's my need to get stoned in the middle of the day.
Right. And a nap in the car.
I mean, that's a subject for another show.
So mentors, Bill.
That's a whole nother show.
And what I love and the way he's put Idea Climbing together too is And knowing Mark for a while now, we're all part of the SEN network. So is be in a network, be in a group.
Yeah.
I love to mentor people on finding good mentors because I might not be a fit. I don't know everything. I'm not going to pretend I do because that's just going to lead somebody astray and make me look horrible at the same time if I try to, right? It's okay not to know everything.
Nobody knows everything.
Well, Kent does.
Well,
But
okay.
you know, just ask him, he'll tell you. But you know,
Goat. The
That's
goat.
right.
finding the right mentor for the space that you're in is absolute key. And then finding the groups that you want to be in. The first thing I usually tell somebody is learn how to read a room. Once you learn how to judge somebody based on their knowledge and that they're not, you know, excuse my French, full of shit.
Right.
Because a lot of people will just tell you regurgitated garbage, but they've never experienced it.
Mhm.
So you need to learn how to read the room. And then once you learn how to read the room, then you're in that space to where these three people that you've talked to several times are building a relationship. Once that relationship comes to fruition, they're happy to help you, you know, because now as you grow into your business, bootstrap companies are huge with that, right? They need mentors. They need to grow into that next step for leveling up.
Well, and you can grow into that next networking group too, because you know, you might be with a networking group for a number of years, and you've got sentimentality going on here that you like it, but it's not doing you any good. You need to move on. You need to step up. You're going to outgrow. If you're doing it right, you're going to outgrow.
Hopefully you'll outgrow it.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to what Mark said. What were the four things?
The three things: advice, support, and connections.
All right. So to me, what that says, Mark, and correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't read that part of the book yet, is a mentor is really somebody who probably cares more about my success than me.
Mm-hmm. That could be true, yes.
So
Not 100% of the time, but the really good ones really want to guide people, yes.
So one of my best mentors ever, Ron Hostry, his book's right up over Bill's shoulder there, his left shoulder, and God rest his soul. He was one of my business partners, one of the original founders of 21/6. And this, I was like a sponge anytime that I was with him. I mean, this guy, you know, was just one of the best human beings ever. He was the mayor of Tustin, California for two terms. He owned Royal Mattress Factory Company, right? So for years and years and years, went through some tragedies, became an author, a speaker through the Zig Ziglar Corporation, and for whatever reason, God put him in my life, right? And that's what I think a true mentor, you know, it's that old saying, and I don't want to be bumper stickerish, right? But when the student's ready, the master will show up, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the lessons that this guy taught me about business, about life, about relationships, about, you know, it was just, he you know, he's been gone now almost 3 years. Actually 3 years. Yeah. Wow. And there's not a day that goes by or a situation that happens now in my business life or in my personal life where a lesson that he taught me that at the time I didn't know he was teaching. And I go, oh, there it is, you know? And I think that's the brilliant part of mentorship. But anybody I think who goes up and goes, yeah, I'm Drew's mentor, you know.
Well, let's get it straight here. A mentor isn't coming into your life to sit there and tell you what to do, how to do it, when to do it, where to do it, why to do it. A mentor is someone who is there for when you have a question, when you come to them and ask for support, ask for help, ask for advice. That's what a true good mentor does. You don't want, if you have somebody in your life that's coming and telling you, oh, you're doing this all wrong, you need to do this and you need to do that. That's not a mentor. You know, I would run from that because it doesn't mean that person actually knows what they're talking about.
Correct. Usually it doesn't.
Usually it's the opposite. Yeah. And it's that person who's quiet until asked, you know, for a response, ask for support, advice.
Well, you know, I'm glad you said that because, you know, I've known Mark now for I want to say what, Mark, a couple of years in a group together.
Yeah, at least.
Time I've been in a breakout room or anything with Mark. Mark is the quietest person, and he is absorbing everything around him. And then when he does speak, it's usually factual and
Informative.
very informative.
Yeah.
You know, I'm the guy that talks about an apple for an hour, just because I can't. I just my personality, right?
Right.
I wish I could be more like Mark, where I'm a little more reserved and quiet. Because when you're talking, you're not listening, and when you're not listening, you're not learning. And it's just a downfall that I have.
Well, there's a lesson in life that you've never learned anything that ever came out of your own mouth.
No,
You never learned anything.
No, and you never grow from being comfortable.
No.
Right. So yeah, no.
Right.
Props to you, Mark.
Absolutely.
Well,
yeah.
Well,
Mark,
what you guys just touched on.
Go ahead.
Well, you broke up a little bit. What was that?
Oh, I was just telling people how terrible you are. I'm kidding. Mark being
There's a
that
delay.
being a quiet guy that Mark is, and he's a podcaster. I mean, he's
you
said, a couple hundred shows out
he's got
there.
a radio personality,
Yeah.
as well. And just so you're aware, I think there's a delay between our connections. So when we say something, we get a blank stare, and then seconds later, there's a laugh or a response. So for anybody out there watching this, there is a delay. Just to let you know.
Technical difficulty.
Yes.
But Mark, let's roll on to. We got this mentoring part down a little bit here, but we also wanted to bring in the relationship side and the marketing side, because you want to combine these to create a concept, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, relationship marketing.
So dive into that aspect of your book there, the relationship and and then we'll go into marketing.
Well, a lot of people, especially with social media, when you hear marketing, they think search engine optimization, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, just impersonal clicks, and then your click-through rate and your closing rate and all that good stuff. When I believe there's a time and a place for it. I'm not saying don't do it by any stretch of the imagination. I'm just saying that the subtitle of the book is how to create a support system for your next big idea. And so many people fail because they're alone. And I think it's especially in entrepreneurship, lone wolf, top of the mountain or dead on the side. I'm going to hell or high water. I'm going to make it through blood, sweat, and tears. Where if you ask people for help, they'll give it to you and your idea will come to life faster than it could alone. I know with myself, I discovered this with unconscious competence in 2003. I had just moved to Chicago. I was in my 20s, and I was looking for a group that catered to young entrepreneurs. And by young entrepreneurs, I mean everyone in the room is an entrepreneur. And I called the Chamber of every organization in Chicago I could call, even the Chamber of Commerce said we've never heard of anything like that. Now there's a ton of them throughout. Downtown is saturated with startup companies and incubators and accelerators. And I couldn't find it, but everyone I talked to, I was building camaraderie with them. And a lot of people and this is where the unconscious competence come in. I didn't realize I was doing it, would become relationship marketing. I was building a support system because people like the Chamber said, well, I went back and said, I'm going to start it. Do you have any suggestions? Oh, when you get it up and running, I heard that so much. Come talk to me. So when I wanted to start it, if I would have gone the lone wolf approach, I would have had to get 5 people in the room, then invite a friend, 10 people in the room, then invite a friend, 20. Backbreaking work, slow, tough. I wanted to start it. I had a venue, sponsors, speakers, attendees, mailing lists. Everyone was promoting it. But that's because when I was coming up with the idea and breathing life into it, I say talk to everyone under the sun. And if people are listening, it's like putting your hands together with 2 V's and the meet in the middle. You start on one side and you start talking to everyone under the sun. You should hit a tipping point in the middle where now I'm going to talk to fewer people that I have know, like, and trust. They're on my team, that are going to support me, and we're together. That's the key word, together. We're going to make this happen. And if it's done that way, that's when you see something magic behind the scenes, chances are good that person has an amazing network that knows, likes, and trusts them, that's taken years to build, and that's why they make something look easy. It's not that they're just a genius and they got 1,000 people on the mailing list. They got that list because people promoted them and supported them. So that's why I think relationship marketing is so important, and I think more valuable than SEO or anything else.
Yeah, I agree with you. A couple of things here. Number one is when people come to me and say, "What do you think? What should I do?" And the first question I will say is, "What's the right way to do it?" And it's not the fastest, not the cheapest, not the easiest. What's the right way to do it? And that can take time. Like you said, it takes years. But in marketing, it's very important for people to understand that marketing and sales are identical twin brothers. They have to be speaking the exact same language, the exact same story, because if they're not, something's amiss. All right. I'm telling you, I'm building this now, and it's very, very important to have those two. Your sales pitch really is your marketing plan, and vice versa. So they have to be hand in hand. You bring branding into that, you bring your web design into that. These things all go together.
Well, I like what you say, Bill. They're twins. I don't know if they're identical twins. So as in my sales pitch, it should resemble what the marketing plan is.
Complements each other.
But they should look alike, but they don't necessarily act alike.
Well, you got to be careful. You don't want to be sending different messages out.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It looks alike, but they don't act alike, because I think too many times for a small business owner, and that's what I am. So that's all I can kind of look at is we think, okay, I got a good marketing plan, so that's my sales plan, and that's not really true.
No, they have to be designed and developed together. And I think our guest 2 weeks ago, Joe Rojas, was pretty clear about that. And I've had conversations with him since, and we're working on a project together. It's spot on. It's needs to be consistent, but yeah, there's so many different ways to market, right? So how you don't want to spread yourself too thin. That's very important too. Start small, work your way up.
So I think that you're all saying the same thing in a different way, but in marketing is the description of what your business and what your product or services is, and your sales is who you are. Authentic sales is who you are, to build that trust, because if they trust you, you point them to the funnel of what your marketing is, because why would they go outside of a trusted network, right? So I think we're all saying the same thing in that fact. And building those connectivity, those connections, and building relationships, no matter what you do. I mean, listen, business is just part of life, but if you have that in your life, I'm sure Mark didn't, knowing how the steps he did to get this book done, was I watched him go through the process through our group, and he's like, man, it's coming soon, but I got to make sure that it's perfect. So I'm showing it to like 5 more people that know how to do this, and he really just kind of leveled himself up to get to that point. So
it's important. That process is important for, I think, a lot of people to understand, because we're kind of raised to keep things in close, right? To not let out,
hold it close to the vest, man.
Hold it close to the vest, and not let feelings, emotions out, ideas or thoughts out. And we're learning. I believe we're learning that actually is not the right way to do it, and that if you really want to get things done and you can't do everything yourself, get the word out there. People will jump to help, because people love to help. If you go ask somebody, hey, can you help me? Everybody will stop and say, yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And that's the relationship side of things then too. You're bringing into play.
Yeah. So I guess a question for you, Mark, would be building relationships. Are you doing a widespread of relationship building, to where it's not even, you're not even looking to fill the need, but just it kind of does as you go through the pipeline? So if you are, let's say, bootstrap, right? You're starting up. Are you just connecting with anybody and everybody that will allow you to grow? And then, because 9 times out of 10, even with a leader that you're looking at as a mentor, there's a mutual, right? So let's just say I become successful. You're my mentor. I'm like, hey man, I'm doing this now, and you're doing this with me. So there's a connectivity, so it's a mutual at the end, so it's beneficial for all. But I guess my question would be, Marcus, what would you suggest? Widespread of networking, just build those relationships. Once you figure out who they do, it's based on the trusted person that you're talking with. Is that what you would suggest?
It depends. Excuse me. It depends what phase you're in. When I was for younger people or people, I'll even say younger in a career, you could be 50 and starting a new business. You're a startup. You're 50. Age is irrelevant. You're still starting a new business. If you don't know what you don't know, then go wide. Once you know, and now that I know where I'm going with mine, before it was publishing the book for the last however long stretch of time. So I was talking to publishers and marketing people and book launch people and podcasters. Now I'm going to the next stage with focusing on the business and keynote conversations in front of audiences. So now I'm talking to people in the meetings and event space because I know where I'm going. So now it's getting much more niche. So if you're really young at something, definitely go wide, because if you don't know what you don't know who to ask for help as far as a bullseye goes. But like I said, as you get more focused, you start talking to less people.
I like that.
And
You're
more
right.
hyper-focused people, mentors and friends.
I agree with you. This is what's happened to me, where you're in a whole bunch of different networking groups, maybe a chamber or two.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting yourself out there wide, and as you develop, you kind of circle the wagons and
narrow your focus.
You narrow your focus. You focus in on the groups that best support your efforts and what you're trying to do.
Yep.
And keep in mind, as your mentor, the only reason why you even succeed isn't, it's just because I told you how to do it.
Right.
Just kidding.
One thing with that is, and you touched on a little bit, Bill, that's important, is that I don't believe from my experience of interviewing people, the mentor should tell you what to do. They help you come to a self-discovery, an aha moment. And what they're doing is they'll share, here's what I did when I was in your shoes, or here's what my friend did when he would do with it what you will. But I'm going to share a story of what I did or what I know one of my friends did. And then you can decide what to do. They don't tell you what to do, but they make you have an aha moment for yourself. And just a quick plug, if anyone's listening, instead of searching, the book is at ideaclimbingbook.com. So just got to put that out there, ideaclimbingbook.com. And back to mentoring, that's what another one is, I'm really big about not asking, unless you're in a formal program, don't ask someone to be your mentor. I have, and I still have them. I'm very, very, very fortunate in my life to have a lot of mentors. And Drew, you touched on it. Definitely one is not enough. The lifestyle mentor is different than a business mentor, is different than loving relationship mentor. So finding the right team of people, that's definitely one of the big things you want to do, and have multiple ones that you can talk to. But I just let it happen organically. Start with, now I tell people, because of Zoom, it's easier, and people are getting bombarded with more invites, to just say, hey, can I talk to you for 20 minutes? Here's my problem. Here's why I want to talk to you. Drew, you started an organization. I'm starting an organization. I'd love to learn from you, how you started a successful organization. Can I talk to you? This is the key. Can I talk to you for 20 minutes? If you just leave it open-ended, can I pick your brain or can I talk to you? They don't know what that means. What is this, an hour? They might assume it's just, I don't have time for that. When you say 20 minutes, it's easy for even a busy person to say, you know what, call me at noon on Friday. Sure, I got 20 minutes. No problem. And at the end of the conversation, they should give you some action steps. Then follow up. Here's what I did with what you said. I'd like to know what to do next. And just sometimes it's one-time conversation. Other times it's ongoing. But I really believe in let it happen organically, especially if you just met someone. Will you be my mentor is like bringing an engagement ring to the first date and saying, do you want to get married and have kids? It's too much.
Yeah, way too much.
So let it happen organically.
Listen, Shayna, good morning, says, it's bewildering to me how many companies go hard to gain the business and really light on retention. Frontline people need to be invested in. Those are the people that make me leave.
Well, so I don't know, Shayna. Thanks for coming on here. Good conversation there. The thing is a lot of small business owners, they work on their business so much, and then they get sales, and then they stop working on their business and they go do sales. And this is a cycle. It's a bad cycle. Then all of a sudden there's no more sales. You've delivered. Now you got to go back and work on your business and build it up again. So Joe Rojas, we had on here, we talked about building the machine. And if you build a machine, that means these things are repeatable. And because they're repeatable, you're constantly working on business and getting sales done. And that machine is functioning properly. If there's any piece that breaks down in the machine because you built it, you know exactly where to go.
Yeah, we're talking about
fix it.
working on your business versus working in your business. And
Yeah.
when you're an entrepreneur, you're kind of doing both. You're wearing both hats until the point where you're starting to chase your own tail. Right?
Yeah, it's as easy as Joe gave me this story. You get a box of Legos, you dump them out on the floor, and you start building something.
Mhm.
All right, how good do you think that's going to be? How solid of a foundation do you think that's going to be? Now you take that same box of Legos, you pull out the directions,
Mhm.
and you follow step by step. You're going to have a much more solid foundation,
Correct.
right? And if one piece goes bad, you know where to go fix it.
Because it's already been proven.
Yeah.
That's why there's instructions.
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Yeah.
That's a key factor.
Listen,
Thanks, Shana.
you're listening to Innovative Strategies here in 216 Net with Bill Haase. Of course, today we've got Mark Carter. He is the entrepreneur. He is the author, the guy of Idea Climbing. This is a brilliant book. I love the way that he's put it together. It's a series of interviews. It's a series of searching, and it's really cool. And you can go to ideaclimbingthebook.com. Is that right?
Ideaclimbingbook.com.
Idea Climbing Book. I'll roll it out there. Ideaclimbingbook.com. If you, it doesn't matter if you're an entrepreneur. Doesn't matter if you work for somebody. This is just a brilliant book that covers a wide spread of. I mean, if you're in the business world, if you're flipping hamburgers, whatever, it's brilliant.
Yep.
It's brilliant.
Good stories in there of the interviews that he did with some very talented people. And great point, Mark, that if you want to become smarter in your business and you want to get to the next levels, you need to go to people that have already been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And two, you need to be careful because some people have gotten there the wrong way.
True.
And
True.
that could get you in a lot of trouble just the same. Because everybody's looking for the magic pill, right? Everybody wants the magic bullet to
diet
be
pill?
right.
Yeah.
Right. They want that. Oh man, I want the big house and I want the money right away. There's work that you need to put into that, but there's also a way to work smart and not hard if you have the right mentor. Also, if you're connecting with the right people, those people will show you the right way, not to get in trouble doing it the shortcut way.
Yeah.
And all the time, shortcuts, they can lead into disaster.
There's a lot of pitfalls in
100%.
and you don't know what's gonna you because you're trying to do a short-term fix.
Yep.
For a long-term problem.
Right.
And we have a lot of that in this world, and we're seeing it. And by solving one problem, you need to think about, okay, is this going to create another one? Right. I mean, like electric vehicles.
Well, do you want a lot of money right now, or do you want a lot of money later, where that lot of money will continue to be a lot of money?
Yeah,
So I mean, and happiness. The happiness goes with that.
if becoming wealthy is your motivation and your drive,
Well, that's where the younger generation kicks into play a little bit. They're like, I don't want to work for anybody else.
Yeah.
Right. I don't like, being delegated to and then never being able to reach my goal of being a leader because somebody's tossing me a brick while I'm treading water all the time. So those people, that's what happened to me.
Yeah.
And then those people become entrepreneurs. This book here, this is a great guide to get you through what you.
Hold it up to the
Oh,
camera.
hi. There you go. Here, can you see it? I thought you had it on the screen.
There
Sorry.
it is.
There we go.
That's the
This
real
is
book.
the guide. Listen, if you are a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, a person in business, SMB market, whatever, pick up the book, check it out, because there's going to be a lot of things in here you didn't think about. There's a lot of I've met and I've seen a lot of people. I've talked to a lot of people, and Mark is he's a unique character in himself, And I learned a lot from him just from being in a group with him. And the book is a guide that he built to help people get to those next steps, which is awesome.
Well, here's the cool thing about Mark. He's approachable. You can reach out to him. Read his book. Go
Yes.
go out, reach out to him.
Yeah.
Follow his podcast.
Follow his podcast.
Yeah.
Where do we find that podcast at, Mark?
You can go to ideaclimbing.com and the episodes are at the bottom of the page.
Awesome.
Awesome.
I
So
love that.
ideaclimbing.com, bottom of the page.
Mark, quick question, and maybe for everybody that's on screen. The world has changed so much, and we've had a huge exodus of workers. We've had huge amounts of entrepreneurs starting businesses and things over the last couple of years, but it's really gone digital, right? The networking now, again, I'm an older guy, so networking is chambers, shaking hands, getting together, in groups. How do I network and build that in the digital platform, because I'm building my business and never want to leave my basement?
One thing that I suggest, and this is in the book, and I'm bringing it back myself now that I'm getting focused after the book has been published, virtual mastermind groups are phenomenal. Use it as a marketing vehicle. I don't charge for it because selfishly it's 6 to 8 people on Zoom or whatever platform you want, and it's free. So I'm just adding value to their life. It's a branding play. Even if they can't make the group, their last touch point with me was me saying, let me add value to your life. I'm asking for nothing in return. Beautiful brand to have. And you just guide it through what problems are you facing? Okay, everyone in this group, how can we help Drew? How can we help Sarah? And go through each person and just, what do you need help with? Who do you need to know? And what I love about virtual mastermind groups is I meet people, and it might be more towards, I need to know them. Maybe they could become a client, a referral source, a mentor, but there's really no reason to know me on the other side of the fence. And I don't want to be pushy. So this is great to be able to say, hey, we don't have enough common thread in my head thinking this, not saying it, to ask for coffee or ask for a Zoom session, but get to know them better and say, hey, Drew, do you want to come to my mastermind group? It's at this time, it's 60 minutes. There's 6 to 8 people in the room. Everyone brings a challenge that we can work on. People offer help and connections for them. I found that's one of my favorite tools in the digital age, because it's not backbreaking work. You don't need to get 100 people on Zoom and do breakout rooms, just 6 to 8 people. And one of the tips is I tell people to use eventbrite.com because it's free if you have a free event. And there's a setting where you can allow how many people to sign up. If you let 12 sign up, chances are 6 will show. It's almost scientifically proven. 50% of people on average that sign up for a free event don't go to the event. So always shoot high. Don't cap it at 6 behind the scenes. Cap it at 12 if you want 6 in a row.
Yeah, good point. There's always that argument. Do you charge a fee, and then is it too much that people don't want to pay it and won't come? Or do you make it free, and then they say, well, what value is that? Is there in that? That happens a lot of time in different businesses. Me in financial advising, do I charge a consulting fee up front, or do I not?
Some people respect you more when you charge them up front. Some people are looking for that freebie, but later through time they end up kicking out because they're like, this was well worth it. So I think it's perspective on that scenario. And there are free groups out there that you can get.
Part of it,
go ahead.
Part of it, which is I did it, but I didn't explain what I did unconsciously. I tell people why it's free. I don't just let it out there and say it's a free group. I flat out tell people I'm being selfish. I can have 6 to 8 conversations in 60 minutes. That would be 3 to 4 hours of Zoom time if I got on for 30 to 45 minutes a person. So here's the deal. It's a branding play because I'm adding value to your life. It's free because I have 6 to 8 conversations. I'm benefiting as much as you are as attending. And I found when I explain it, then there's like, oh, that makes sense. Old school, when I used to do events for free and not explain why they were free, I have run into that problem. Because then it's like, well, if it's free, why would I go? What's the point?
That's brilliant.
So that's something that's an entirely different episode for Bill. That's literally could be an hour with an expert about charging and how much you charge. Oh my God.
That's true. I mean, 'cause, you know, if you're successful in the first couple of meetings, that word spreads and people want to get involved and people want to know about it. Then we get together and our networking group and we spread the word there, and more people want to get involved.
That's right.
And so then whether it's free or whether it costs money, it doesn't matter anymore. Really, because you know the purpose is not to develop income. I mean, the purpose is to develop insight.
Correct.
Ooh,
Correct.
So
That's how
that's a
legacy
bumper
is.
that
sticker.
just came out.
that's a bumper sticker.
That just came out.
That's a T-shirt.
That was a good one.
That's more than a bumper sticker.
Can we put that on the back of your book?
Mark, is there just a quick question? Are there any plans for you doing webinar series, workshops, anything, anybody that we could tell our listeners out there?
Besides the virtual mastermind group is the only thing I have in the hopper as far as online goes. Now that the world is opening up, I'm very happy to get back to my what I'm most passionate about in the business world, and that's live events.
Awesome.
I live in downtown Chicago, so there's a lot of opportunity within a few miles of me with organizations, and that's what I'm doing now is connecting with the larger organizations in Chicago to do events with them. What I'm looking at now is I've built the audiences before, and Drew, you of course over the last 2 years shared connections,
Yep.
1 or 2.
Yeah, about 2.
You know what it's like to get a bunch of people in a room. I've been there. Now I'm going to the people that have the lists and the memberships and telling them, let me offer you awesome content, interview content. I'll bring the experts live. I'll bring them online. Let me offer some amazing content and events for your organization. And that's what I'm doing now, is focusing on where the audiences are already built in rather than just building one myself.
So at
Again.
SEN, what we're doing is Mark is going to create and run a mastermind in an SEN.
Oh, really? Well, obviously, you know, I go fishing there for guests on
Of course.
on this particular show, and
It's beneficial.
you know, it's very beneficial. We brought on some amazing people. Then there's, you know, everyone there at that group has a talent and a gift that
There is.
they share.
Well, and two, I think the expansion to that, which is, you know, having Mark working on that and being part of the admin team, we are also putting together a Share Connections ladies group, L3.
More ladies groups. There's a lot of them.
Well, there are, but it's beneficial.
That's the thoughts and opinions of our
Don't be
hosts
part of
are
the
not
problem. Be
necessarily
part of the
that.
solution, Bill.
Yeah.
Good gosh.
No, I'm just it's a big deal. I mean, so you know, this virtual convention we're putting together is for underprivileged and different types of folks, and one of the main targets is women, because in the Latin countries they're not typically not as well educated or have as much opportunity.
Yeah.
And so we're putting this on to give them that and to provide that. But
Well, yeah, that would have been the point, because we wanted to make sure that there's support for everybody.
Yeah.
And it you can probably attend some of the events, even though, you know, even if you weren't
sure, I
one.
know, yeah.
But, you know, Ladies Leadership League, L3 for short, Share Connections, Women to Share Connections. So stay tuned for that too, because, you know, it's people like Mark that are making these platforms explode because of idea climbing.
Yeah.
Once again, the book is awesome. Check it out if you haven't seen it.
Yeah, no question. No question. So
Thank you.
is there any other aspect about this book you'd like to bring to our attention? In particular, something you really like, that you enjoyed most of what's inside here?
Hold on. So money that falls out of there. Money.
What? We covered the 2 sections, which thank you for the prep and the offer to do that, the mentoring and the relationship marketing side. For anyone out there, the biggest thing I could tell them is what the root of the book was: my curiosity at a young age. So if I could tell people one thing, be curious, reach out to me with genuine curiosity, talk 20% of the time, listen 80% of the time, and just be genuinely curious in other people. And if you're meeting somebody, if you want a job, or you want a funding or whatever it might be, if that's your agenda, tell them that. Because one thing I've learned is the higher up the ladder of success you go, the higher and better off their BS detectors are, and they'll smell it a mile away. So don't ask for, can I have an informational interview if you really want a job? Say, I'd like to work with you, for you. Can we have a conversation? But more than that, be curious about other people's success. If that's one thing, I didn't realize it till I started talking to college classes 20 years ago. So like I said, it was in my DNA. I just did it because I was curious. And so many people like don't go to networking events. They don't think of what do I have to offer? You know, I'm a sophomore in undergrad. The people that make it, most of the time, somebody helped them make it. They want to give back, but at the same time, they're busy. They're not broadcasting, I want to be a mentor, I want to be a mentor, anyone. They don't broadcast it. But I cannot tell you how many people of the craziest levels of success flat out have told me, thank you for asking to have a conversation with me. I'd love to do this more. I don't know why more people don't ask. So be curious about people and just start learning from successes. They'll share their failures too, but really just be curious and start talking to people and get involved with as many groups as you can to start with. And then what we talked about, you guys talked about a little bit, eventually you probably will graduate the group. You'll either take a leadership role or you'll say, you know, my time is done. I'm moving on to this group over here now. But yet, in a nutshell, be curious and actively curious, seek people out so you can learn from them. And that could even be vicariously. Some of the stories in the book I got from biographies and autobiographies. I didn't talk to the person or they were no longer here, but I could read a book and learn from the book vicariously.
Yeah, very interesting. Very good, great insight there. And I wholeheartedly agree with you. You know, there's many different ways to skin a cat, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's not one particular path or one particular way. And by talking to several people, you can start to form your own path.
Correct.
You know?
Yep. You're utilizing the tools that were given to you because you learned them. So now you can veer off and add some of your own aspects and ratios to those equations, man.
Yeah, exactly.
That's where it gets exciting.
And it's fun.
Yeah.
It gets to be a lot of fun when you're building something, and you know, it's not just you building it. It's several people.
Correct.
With Meta Ed Partners, we got a lot of people helping to build this, and it's fun to watch these people, you know, show their gifts and talents.
100%, especially if you have all the right people
in
the right seats.
Yep.
It's like a machine that you just watch starts clicking off.
Exactly.
Awesome.
My partner just said, well, how about we hire this person to oversee what's going on over here? I go, why do we need to do that? We hired the good people.
Yeah.
Let them do what they do. We don't need anybody to oversee it.
How much are you paying? No. Going back to what Mark said just a few minutes ago is, is having these masterminds and the mentors. In every one of my offices, it's here in the station on the whiteboard. And I got 10 rules of success. And number 5 is learn from greatness. Mm-hmm. Okay. I'm the same way, Mark. I am just so curious. Why did that lady succeed? What was the magic sauce for that guy or that team? Why did this particular one win and this one didn't? And I love learning from people. I've coached basketball for years, Bill. You know that 20 plus years.
Yeah.
And I'm working with a young man, David Kay. He does a lot of training and whatnot. He's out of the Grays Lake area, and he's 40. Great guy. And he said something on to the team that I'm helping with, a college team that I'm helping with, and I had never heard it that way before. And so I watched. So during the game, I watched and it was amazing. And I was just like, and so afterwards, I'm like, man, I gotta thank you, man. I said, I've been coaching for half your life. No one's ever positioned it that way before. And I'm sitting here going, why for 20 years, I never thought of it that way.
That's pretty cool.
And so I love Mark's point is, man, just kind of be that sponge, but look for that and ask questions and be curious.
It'll hit you.
Yeah.
When there's just, maybe it's just a sentence. Maybe you've talked to 100 people, but that 100th person having that conversation, and there's just that one sentence in there that clicks.
Yeah.
Yep.
All of a sudden things click
It's
and
the
fall
missing
into place.
piece of the puzzle, right?
Yeah. It just again, I hate to keep bringing the same name up, but Joe Ross, when he said to me, he goes, you're a giver. Thank you for letting me give to you.
Mm-hmm.
And we talk about if you're putting your hand out to give somebody something, your hand's already out. It's okay to receive something in return.
Yep.
And that can be challenging. It certainly was challenging for me.
And Joe, feel free to send your check to 216 the net.
Yeah.
For all this plugging we've done.
Attention, Drew.
Yeah, but Mark, I know we're down to just a couple minutes here, aren't we?
Yep.
Man, it goes quick, don't it?
It flies down. We got about 4 minutes
Yep.
here. Again, I know we're pushing hard on this book, but it reading a book like this is almost like hearing that one sentence that all of a sudden things click. There might be something in this book. I guarantee you there's something in this book that's many things that are going to help you, but one particular thing might stand out more than anything else. That because it's on your mind, it's an issue you have now. It's a concern that you have.
Well, and this is standing on the shoulder of a giant. I'm talking about Mark, right?
Yeah, 100%.
This is years of conversations. This is brilliant, right? So it's not like I'm sitting down and having a cup of coffee with Mark through this book, and he's just throwing up on me all of his knowledge.
It's years of his curiosity.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
He's done all the work for you. That's why I'm saying, man, get the book.
And it's an easy read, so it's not.
Yeah.
It's got
Yeah.
doesn't have a bunch of large words. That
Easy,
I'm confused.
easy read for me is all pictures, but but yeah, no, I mean, you can get through it pretty quickly too. Yeah, no, it's good.
and then you can use it as like an encyclopedia.
As a guide.
As a guide. Yeah, it's just brilliant. And it's up there. It's idea climbing. It's scrolling across the bottom of your screen. If you're watching, if you're listening out there on the internet and on the radio, it's www.ideaclimbingbook.com. And just brilliant.
Yeah,
brilliant.
It's awesome.
Yeah, well,
Thank
it's
you.
not unexpected. I've known Mark for quite a while here as well. We have many wonderful conversations, whether it involves broadcasting or business building. And always appreciate and always walk away a better person. But so I thank you for that. Mark, we got 2 minutes.
I always feel driven every time I talk to Mark.
Yeah.
Driven.
He's the quietest man in the room, but by the time I'm done talking to him, I feel like I just, are you going to send me an invoice for like therapy or something? Because, when I'm done talking to you, I always feel driven. I'm like, man, I want to do more now. There's something about him that just really energizes it. That's why I think we click pretty well.
Well, the fact that he can be the podcaster that he is and be quiet.
I know.
Well,
he can definitely talk. There's no doubt.
Right.
Just at certain times where I'm like, does he even talk? I mean, he's so quiet, but the smartest man in the room usually is.
When we do those breakout rooms, you never put me in the room with Mark.
No,
I don't get to experience all that.
No, I think Mark's had it with you.
Yeah. We set our own time to have our own conversations. A little bromance on the side.
That's right. That's right.
Oh,
So you're downtown Chicago, yes?
yes.
So how
Loving
close
it.
to the lake? How close to the lake are you?
3 blocks.
Nice.
Oh man, so lunch must be awesome for you because it's nothing but good food and good scenery.
Gorgeous.
Yeah,
Awesome scenery. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, he's not in the Kevlar neighborhood, I'm sure. But yeah, that's got a great office downtown. I've seen. I follow him on Facebook, and I see. He's like, I'm over here today. I'm seeing pictures of.
Oh, I see that too.
Yeah, it's just awesome.
Yeah.
Just awesome.
Listen, you're stuck here in Innovative Strategies with Bill Haase. If you want to be part of the show, if you have content ideas for the show, if you want to learn more about 216 the net, how to get your product out there, how to go through our training with a guy that you might just know from this show, and send an email to info@216thenet.com. That's info@216thenet.com. Just put Innovative Strategies strategies in the subject line, and we will make sure that Bill gets that and those thoughts. This show is really driven to make you and your business better, and or your business idea better as your idea climbing. As the book suggests there. But feel free to send that information to us because we want to get the people and help everybody win.
We
That's
want
Bill's goal.
success.
Yeah.
We want people to be successful, and we know how hard it is, and we know what it takes. That's why we're doing this.
Yeah.
Because we know you need help. Because you can't do it on your own.
Yeah,
You
it's
just
not.
can't.
It's not about the money. It's about the what?
Money.
It's not about the income. You said it's not about the
Oh,
income.
He
no,
said
it's
money
about the
twice.
insight.
It's about the insight. It's not about the income. It's about the insight.
Yeah, there's no income here.
Yeah. Not
And
by
if,
choice.
and if you guys haven't caught it, it's the first and third Thursday.
Yeah.
Right. Is Roger That Chronicles, a
Yep.
new show that we
New
have.
show.
Oh, nice.
Made for veterans by veterans. We thank our troops, everything, but it's a great, great show at 11 a.m. Central. Roger That Chronicles, great. We've got a new show as well called Leveling Up. It's a DCCS production here at 216 Creator Studios. And another one that's going to be awesome is Individually United with Jamie Maravich and Karen Abbott Trimmel. Absolutely going to be a great, great show.
I like that title.
Yeah, Individually United is really going to be a great. But listen, we have got to run. We're on the back side of this. But for all of us here at 216 Net, thank you for getting caught in the net. Thank you for hanging out with us on Innovative Strategies with Bill Haase. And remember, until we see you again, be good. But more importantly, be good to one another and go out and buy that book, Idea Climbing by Mark Carter.
Mark, thanks so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it. Appreciate all the time we ever get to spend together. So thank you.
Thanks for having
Thank
me.
you for having me. Appreciate it.
Take care, Mark. Good seeing you.